Welcome back to the program. So today is the anniversary of January 6th. You know, the Fedsurrection that took place on November 3rd, 2020, and January 6th, of course, of 2021 was the cover-up of that insurrection. Today, being that important day, the media, of course, is running around, including Hillary Clinton, or as I like to call her, Kankles McPantsuit, running around screaming that Trump is an insurrectionist and everybody else did what they did. You even have Senator Alex Padilla, you know, the one that tried to bum rush Kristi Noem, DHS secretary. Yeah, him. Trying to introduce legislation to curb any type of payment and compensation to the innocent January 6th protesters. Well, in one of Autopen's last acts, sadly, before the dementia patient left office, he pardoned Captain Michael Leroy Byrd. Now, you may remember Michael Leroy Byrd because he's the one that executed Ashli Babbitt in front of everyone. That's right. Remember that? I put the video out many, many years ago. Thankfully, her family got some compensation, but now they're trying to stop all the January 6ers who have been pardoned to have any compensation. Well, I can assure you that's not going to pass, at least certainly not right now. So this is the same Michael Byrd, the officer who shot and killed, of course, Ashli Babbitt. We also remember that he is, well, shall we say, very loose with a gun, okay? Number one, he wasn't holding it properly. He was holding it like a thug, like a gangster, doing it like this on the side. This is also the guy that, oops, my bad, he actually left his revolver in the men's bathroom. And remember this, he also got in trouble because he was not certified and wasn't passing and continuously keeping up with his pistol, requirements as far as that's concerned. Here it is right here. February 2019, Byrd also had his police powers revoked on a few different occasions for failing to meet semi-annual firearms qualification standards. But of course, he was pardoned by the Autopen, right? Well, like I said before, if we can get that in front of the Supreme Court and we actually hold the Autopen people accountable, get them on record, indict them, and then go to the Supreme Court and nullify all of these quote-unquote pardons, then we can go after him, and I definitely hope that we do. Well, it looks like Michael Leroy Byrd is basically taking a playbook right out of Somaliland. That's right. Listen to this craziness. Investigative journalist Paul Sperry, good guy, great patriot, discovered recently that the former lieutenant, now captain, Michael Leroy Byrd, who shot and killed Ashli Babbitt and was never held accountable for it, has been running an unaccredited daycare center with his wife in Maryland outside of Washington from their home for the last 17 years, since 2008. Unreal. So it looks like the Byrd's Family Daycare Center in Brandywine has been running an illegal daycare center, and of course, with records showing that he received from HHS $190 million. Wow, that is a ton of money. Now, let's get into this here a little bit more. Let's look and see here what Paul's got. Pretty good guy, this guy, Paul Sperry. He's been around a long time. Why isn't this? Here it goes. Okay, here it is. So he puts this out on X. I'm going to read the whole thing to you because it's pretty crazy. It's pretty nuts. Records show that U.S. Capitol Police Captain Michael Byrd fatally shot unarmed J6 protester Ashli Babbitt without warning, has been running an unaccredited daycare center with his wife Kaleska from their Maryland home since 2008. And again, received $190 in HHS daycare funds. Let's see here. There's another link. Let's jump on this. Here we go. It's called the Best Daycares, Brandywine Maryland. Top rated brandy wine daycares. Well, that's interesting. If it's top rated, you would expect it to have some, I don't know, maybe some ratings, maybe some 5-star ratings. Nope, nothing at all. No ratings whatsoever. So my question is, are there even really kids there? Are they doing the same thing that they're doing in Samalasota? Let's call it what it is. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. I don't know. That needs to be investigated. But what I will say is that this guy is a murderer, number one, and he should be held accountable for what he has done. It's just disgusting that he was able to shoot an unarmed lady, an Air Force veteran of 14 years, young gal, married, life ahead of her, and just gunned her down. Why? Because she dared to walk into your space? Then this scumbag does an interview about a month later. And remember, by the way, the Biden folks were hiding his name. I actually got a t-shirt once I found out who he was, and I put a t-shirt on, and I was doing videos. You all remember that. I don't have to show you. I'm going to talk about this here in a little bit. So we're going to talk about that. But this guy should be held accountable. He literally shot and killed somebody in broad daylight in front of, I don't know, 200, 300, 400 witnesses, and who knows how many that saw the video. I played the video. You all saw the video. How many other people probably saw that as well? I mean, you got 100,000 plus people, I would assume, maybe even more than that saw him execute. That's right, execute poor innocent Ashli Babbitt. Unreal. Now, again, with January 6th, the media is going crazy. They're literally saying that Trump did this insurrection. Meanwhile, we've already seen the video. I don't need to rehash it all patriotically and peacefully, right? Instead, they cut it and they're being sued, the BBC and all that other stuff. But it wasn't even that. No one was charged. No one was charged with USC 2383, which happens to be, of course, insurrection. Now, you got to ask yourself, if this was an insurrection, which of course it wasn't, why wasn't anyone charged with actual insurrection? Because as I've said numerous times, even the jackboot prosecutors, led by Jackoff Smith and the rest of these idiots, even they knew there was no way. And Michael Graves, he was one of the big ones, right? Even they knew that they could not meet the threshold for that charge. It was never going to happen. So here we are, 5 years later, and this guy is walking free. And now, the audacity of the left, Senator Padilla from California, he's introducing legislation to stop compensation for innocent January 6 protesters. The left knows no low level. They will go lower than pond scum, and they'll find another layer underneath that to sink out of and crawl out of. They are just an insidious bunch. They are evil. They're angry. They're dangerous. They're violent. And like I've said before, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, they're a terrorist organization. No question about it. And they have shown that they have no problem using violence to get their quote message out there. It's really sick. It's really sad. And this better be a warning and a wake-up call to every single patriot in this country that you have got to be motivated and activated and ready to do whatever is needed to make sure that we win these midterms and especially 2028. Because if we don't, well, if they win in 2028 in 2026, more than likely they'll barely get the House, in my opinion. And if they do, well, then what are they going to do? They're going to show their radicalness, and they're going to try to impeach President Trump. He said it today. He was doing a speech today. He literally said, they're going to impeach me if we don't win. So you would hope that the House Republicans are going to step up, but who knows? And sadly, we lost another Republican who just passed away suddenly, either today or yesterday, Doug LaMalfa, California. And so may he rest in peace. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, of course. But look, the left is angry. They're bitter. They're violent. They're out of control. They're extremely radical. And they don't care. They don't care. That's the thing. And we have to care. We can't sit back and hibernate and say, oh, we're fine. We're good. No problem. We got this. We just let Trump do it all. No, it doesn't work like that. And that was why I, to this day, am still very nervous about Turning Point. One thing that Charlie was really good at was helping get the vote out, getting people registered, getting people, doing everything and working and phone banking and knocking on doors and all that. We literally, and because I did the video before the election, we took a shot and we actually subcontracted the work for the ground game to Turning Point and a few others. Now, normally the RNC does it, and well, of course, we've seen the results of how good they're at, right? Pretty terrible. But they were at least able to concentrate on filing lawsuits to stop the left from trying to steal the election. So we had a two-pronged approach here. Charlie and the groups and all that were going out, making sure people are registered and voting early and doing all that wonderful stuff. And then we had the RNC concentrating on the legal aspects of things. And it was the combination of the two that put President Trump back in office. And we can't allow that incredible victory to go to the wayside, even just for 2 years. I mean, if he's impeached, he's not going to be removed from office. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. If it does happen, which I hope it doesn't, it'll actually help us in 2028 because the American people will once again see, well, look at how crazy and radical and extreme these people are. We don't want that. We want Republicans. But I don't think we're going to get there because I think the economy is coming back strong. I think the fact that what we did in Venezuela is going to make us oil rich very, very, very soon because we now have control over their oil and also their gold as well, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But it's just it's an unreal situation. What an crazy 10 days that we have seen in the news. But anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.